Hi, hello. This is my third video I filmed in a row, so please excuse me if my voice is gone or I sound tired. But yeah, three videos in a row. I'm doing that because it's my son's birthday this weekend, so I'm gonna have basically no time to read or film. So you're getting them all now. We're here to talk about my month of reading for November. In the last 2 months, I've done themed months. So September was self-pub September, where every single book I read was self-pub and was the debut book from that author or the first book in that series. In October, I did a month of Holly Gibney, where I read all of Stephen King's Holly Gibney books, starting from Mr. Mercedes and ending with Holly. And I read all of those last month, and I actually finished early, which I barely ever do. And I have started November's reading already. What's the theme for November? I think this might be my last theme month for a while, but my themed month is the Cytoverse from Brandon Sanderson. So this is also known as the Skyward series, after the first book in the series, Skyward. I've already started this. I'm about 55 pages in, so about 10% of the book. Genuinely already pretty obsessed and kind of annoyed to be making videos, so because I'd rather be reading this. But that's a very booktube thing to be annoyed about. So it kind of feels like I'm almost like becoming a real booktuber, if that makes sense. And so that's why I'm happy to be making this video with you guys tonight. Now, after I have read Skyward, you can probably see where this is going. If I'm going to be reading Skyward books in November, I'm going to be reading Starsight, the sequel to Skyward, as the UK cover says. I don't know anything about the books past book one. So basically, oh yeah, and after Starsight, I'm going to read Cytonic. Then after Cytonic, there are actually a collection of novellas called Skyward Flight, I believe. And there's also a prequel novella called Defending Elysium. So I have been having some trouble finding those books in the library system. There is Skyward Flight is on the system, but I don't know whether I'll be able to get a copy because there's only two in the whole of the library system, and they're both on loan at the moment. So if I can't get Skyward Flight, I will probably have to buy it. So I might get a Kindle copy. I might just order a book and then donate it to the library because they could clearly use more copies. But we'll see. Defiant is going to be a new release. It's the fourth book in the series and the final book, which comes out at I think it's the 20th of November or around the 20th. So the idea is to try and read everything in time to read Defiant on release. We'll see how well that goes. I think I will adjust my plans based on how long it takes me to read Skyward. But I'm really loving it so far. Normally when I film these TBR videos, I haven't started the book, but I thought I'd give myself a bit of a head start because I want to finish these three books, a novella, and then some more novellas by the 20th, which isn't even the end of the month. But I also I read the first few lines, the first page or so of this book, and the blurb for the back as I was coming back from the library, and I was like, damn, this sounds like a really cool story. So what is Skyward? Skyward is I think it's actually technically YA, but it doesn't feel super YA so far. The 55 pages I've read, it's a sci-fi where basically what's happened is humans have been kind of hunted throughout the galaxy by this alien race called the Krell. And they have managed to settle, a small fleet of humans managed to settle in underground caverns on this planet that is covered by like a debris field. So it's giving them some kind of like natural protection. Um, and the main character is called Spencer, and she desperately wants to be a pilot like her father. And her father fought in like this massive historic battle, but at one point during the battle, he seemingly deserted, and so was branded a coward and a deserter. And so her family since then has been kind of ostracized. Spencer's been bullied, made fun of, and as we kind of catch up to Spencer, she's studying for the pilot's test to become a pilot like her dad, and the she's kind of bit told, like, oh, you're never going to pass, they're not going to let you pass, etc., etc. It's a really fantastic setup. There's also kind of another element to the book that I won't mention. Basically, that Spencer has found something on the planet, and it's pretty intriguing. But yeah, I don't want to give too much away about this because I'm kind of hoping that people will read along with me, unless obviously you've planned your November. But if you are, for example, a big Skyward fan or Cytoverse fan and you're excited about Defiant and you want to do a reread, stick with me because I'm going to read and fully review all of these books. So I'm really excited to get through them. Currently, I don't have a backup or reserve book. I had reserve books for the Stephen King month, because I thought I might get through them all before the end of the month, which I did, and I've started on Skyward. I added that back to the old reading pile. So I started on Skyward, and I feel like, I did have reserve books last month, but I didn't use them because I went straight onto the November reading. I have to my right, I have 4 books that I really want to read, and I would like to get to them, or at least read 3 of them by the end of the year. So one of those is another Brandon Sanderson book, which is Tress of the Emerald Sea. I bought that hardcover day one on release and haven't touched it, which seems like a really stupid thing to do. I also backed the Secret Project Kickstarter. I haven't read any of them. So again, seems kind of dumb. I'd like to rectify that dumbness. And Tress sounds like a great book for me to read. I think I'll really enjoy it. Also, we have Mad Ship, the second book in the Live Ship Traders series. I have already read the first part of this book, so the book's kind of separated into parts as well, and then inside the parts are chapters. But I've read the first part, I've read the first interlude, and I would now be going back into the story. I would like to finish that before the end of the year. So maybe I will go back to that, but we'll see. I also have a book called Ultra Processed People. Now, this is a non-fiction book. It's by an author called Chris Van Tuliken, and this is a real big departure for the channel and for me personally. I don't read much non-fiction, but this one is something that I'm kind of interested in, which is processed food, and it's all about how ultra processed food affects you and affects your diet and your lifestyle and your mental health, physical health. So I'm genuinely really interested in reading it. I was about to say I try not to eat too much processed food. I eat tons and tons of ultra processed food, because I'm vegetarian, and that is just kind of some of the vegetarian food that you get is ultra processed. And if you don't want to slave over a blender, then you kind of have to to get convenient food, you have to have stuff that's processed. But I would like, people have said that reading the book kind of shocked them out of ever eating any processed food, and I would like to become healthier. So I guess that's that. That's what that's kind of my side aim. About aside from not just being interested in the book, but also selfishly, I'd like to be a bit healthier. So those are the 3 books that I've got in reserve that I would really like to read before the end of the year. I've also got a couple of rereads. So when I was a teenager, I absolutely loved the novelization of the Batman event No Man's Land. In fact, this one is within arm's reach. I'll pick it up. So I absolutely loved this book, Batman No Man's Land. It's written by Greg Rucka. He wrote a lot of Batman comics and a lot of great comics, to be honest, in the early 2000s, 2010s. And he also wrote this novelization. And I absolutely love this book. I've read it twice as a teenager. And I think I've got most of the way through a third read when I was at university. And my copy of the book actually fell apart, legitimately fell apart, and it was taped together. So I ordered this one online. It's out of print, completely out of print, but I managed to find another copy online and ordered it from a secondhand bookshop. So I do. I know that, for example, Criminally is doing some rereads in December, and so maybe I will read that one. There's also another book which unfortunately I don't have to hand, but it is called The Tin Man by Dale Brown. Now, weirdly, this is slap bang in a massively long series about this pilot. I think his name's Patrick McClanahan. You'll have to really excuse me on this one. This one, again, is another book that I read multiple times growing up. Absolutely loved. And this book I repurchased to reread recently. Now, I've often said on this channel that I don't do rereads. I don't see the point in rereads because I will never have enough time to read all the books I want to read. So if I reread one, then that is one book that I'll never be able to read. But these two I feel like are special cases because they're teenage favourites. So they're books that I read when I was... these are kind of like 2 of my favourite books from my teenage years where I read a lot, but I read a lot of rubbish. I also read Dune during that time, and I read some Foundation books. No, the other Asimov series, the robot books. I read some of Asimov's robot books, but my 2 favourites were these 2 books. And Tin Man is kind of a superhero book as well. It's like a super realistic, high-tech superhero sort of thing. It's genuinely awesome. I am really excited to read it and to talk about it on here because I don't think there's any reviews of Tin Man on YouTube. So that's fun. And doing the Batman No Man's Land book, I think will be a great reversal of my kind of ongoing feature, which is comics for novel readers. This one's kind of like a novel for comic readers, and it's genuinely really fun and really good, and there's a lot of emotion, really strong character arcs, and there's stuff that you just don't have time for in comics because you've only got 20 pages, but Greg Rucka has 500, and you can fit a lot more on a prose page than a comics page. So yeah, it's a great book and I'm excited to get back to it. So those are kind of things that I want to get to before the end of the year. So yeah, have I made this video long enough to inspire people to watch it? I guess maybe. So any one of those books could end up being a reserve book for this month if I'm able to get through the Skyward books and then Defiant once it releases. I have, as I've said so many times, but I really want to read the second book in the Adan trilogy and the third book as well if I can this year. And I'd really like to read the second book in the Hybrid Helix by JCM Byrne. So yeah, I think I've got a fantastic load of books lined up to read. And I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of these Skyward books. I have been told the first book is the best Skyward book and they get worse as they go on. But this first book is very good. So as long as it doesn't get too much worse, I'll probably still be in. I'm fully willing to DNF this series though, however, and not get the latest book if I'm just not feeling it as I go through. So yeah, I guess that's all the discussion on the reading this month. I'm going to try and fit in some more comics. I've been reading some more of Zeb Wells' Spider-Man run. Maybe, I don't know if it's finishing up soon. If there is a point where it finishes, I'll probably do a video just to chat about it because I've spent a lot of time reading it. And I'm trying to find some more comic book recommendations for fantasy readers. And I might even drop in some like thriller readers for kind of in honor of last month reading thrillers and stuff like that. So if you'd be interested in that, please let me know in the comments below. Speaking of, if you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't like this video, then please leave a comment below. Tell me how I can improve. Give me some constructive criticism. I'm fully happy to have a chat with you in the comments about how I can be a better booktuber, or how anything about any of the books that I'm going to read or have read. And also, please share this with your friends if they're, say for example, excited for Defiant and they want to see someone talk about the Skyward series. Share it across and tell them to subscribe to the channel, which you should also do if you'd like to be and click the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a video. I try to upload a minimum of 3, maximum of 5 videos a week on weekdays, so Monday through Friday. Not 3 to 5 every day, 3 across the week. I think I've managed 4 at least every week for this whole month, and maybe we'll get up to 5 in November. You never know. Thanks so much for watching, and I will speak to you guys tomorrow, maybe, probably. Bye.